people come to teaching because they're creative and they bring passion and care.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you don't allow them to exercise that,
Mm-hmm.
they lose agency and hope. And I think agency and hope is what builds community and love in the classroom.
Hi, everyone. This is Christine Miles. Welcome to Shine a Light podcast. I am here today with my guest, Sue Szczepkowski, both a close friend, a colleague, and an amazing educator. So I'm so excited for everyone to get to know her today and hear her wisdom. So welcome, Sue.
Thanks, Christine. It's great to be with you today. Hi, everyone.
we this is different. We have so many conversations, and it's nice to be able to share our time together with my listeners, because Sue and I have known each other for more years than we wanted to admit, but going back to my grad school days. So we'll talk more about that. But let me share a little bit about you, because you've been doing the world of education for a long time, and I got to witness it, which is really special. So you are the lower school head of Germantown Academy. You spent 30 years in the Philadelphia area in public and independent schools, earned your master's in education and elementary education. You have an MSED in K through 12 school administration and leadership. And you're just all about the foundations for building learning and cultures of understanding, learning innovations for teachers, students, and parents. You're really an advocate, not just an educator, in my opinion, my humble opinion here. And you're still doing Girls on the Run?
I am
Yep.
my 13th season of Girls on the Run.
Tell us a little about Girls on the Run. It's such a cool organization.
Yeah, it's an amazing organization, international, and it is a program for third to fifth grade girls. And it combines what I think are really important developmental, social, emotional learning lessons for girls that age, and running. And so the goal is to train for a 5K after 8 weeks of training.
Huh.
And so we start every lesson with a circle and a question that leads into a focus of building awareness and skills, how to make friends, how to navigate gossip, and on, things that come up in the lives of third to fifth grade girls. So,
Yeah, big issues that come up in the lives of third to fifth grade girls, actually.
for sure.
We
And
don't have to wait till we're 45 to figure this out,
yeah, I mean, a lot of grown-ups could be in Girls on the Run too.
right?
Yeah, so we have a circle time where we bring awareness and we teach them the skill, and then there are movement activities and warm-ups that relate to that, to
Yeah.
practicing language, skills, choices that girls have to consider, how to make good choices, how to be assertive, how to take
Yeah.
care of themselves and navigate for others.
Yeah.
And then we go into our run, and so we incorporate lessons from the opening session into our run. So we'll have lap counters that
Huh.
incorporate motivation for girls to continue to build their stamina, their resilience. So we have all kinds of girls that come who've never run before or who don't like to run. They came because their friend came.
Mhm.
But at the end of the time, it's to really engage, be a good teammate, push yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
The peer pressure in the group is to participate and run and be stronger. And then we have a 5K in the Philadelphia area. Each area brings all their schools together,
Yeah.
and it's really a special event. I love it as a way to give back what I gained through women's athletics,
Yeah.
and I just feel like everything that has helped me overcome challenges or pursue opportunities came from athletics
Yeah.
and the confidence I got. So I love being able to give that back. It's a great way that I can do that in partnership with the position that I have every day.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about your athletics, because we I was the one of the assistant field hockey coaches when I was at
Mhm.
Penn, and you were the goalie
The goalie,
on
yeah.
the team, right? But that was Phil. What sports did you play in high school? Remind me what you played.
Yeah, I played field hockey, basketball, and lacrosse in high
Right, we were
school.
three-sport athletes back
Hmm.
then. You could be. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So what did athletics give you? Like, what did what did that mean to you? Because obviously you played at a very high level, and you also went to U.S. field hockey
Mhm.
trials
Yeah.
once or twice, I forget.
Just once. That was
Just
enough.
once. That's once is enough. We the goal of getting there, we realized, hey,
Yeah.
this is a pretty special place to be, and it's a different world when you live there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different culture. And, I realized what I was drawn to, not only the sport and the training, but the people around me. And
Yeah,
I think when you're in a high school and a college team, you have this really special relationship
yeah,
with your teammates that isn't replicated when you show up with people you don't know. And
yeah.
what I realized,
Tasty.
yeah, the draw for me was that community in so
Yeah.
many ways. And yeah, that wasn't something for me moving on.
Well, and all they're doing is playing hockey and pretty good hockey. So
Yeah,
it's, I always said I
sure.
knew the difference between the top 16 and me.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that when you show up and you're new, I don't think they're invested in your success. They're
Yeah,
invested in their position on the team,
of course. Rightfully
which is
so.
very different from being invested in the people next to you that show up every day.
Well,
I
isn't
mean,
that,
yes, of course, but
yeah, yeah.
I
So,
think my one of my best assets is that I'm a hard worker. I wasn't the most naturally talented player.
amen, girl. I
Yeah,
get you there. You
yeah.
were pretty good, though.
Thank you.
You were very, very good. And it's hard to be good as a goalie.
Yeah,
It's just hard, like
thanks.
the shots you take. So it was fun to watch you in action. But I think about the way the team that you were on, which was
Mm.
highly successful, one of the winningest teams in field hockey history at Penn, still is,
Yeah,
it was that community. And when you talk about Girls on the Run and what that meant, it's about how you show up for each other, not just how you show up as an athlete. It was so baked in to the coaching that you got and the camaraderie on the team. And it didn't mean you didn't want to win, because you guys absolutely wanted to win and did. But when you put that first, it only heightens everybody's talent.
it's so true, Christine. I mean, that year that we got to the Final Four, we won the Ivy League. There were teams that one for one had much more individual talent than we did, and just in terms of, you know, um, they played at different U.S. levels and this and that. But our coaches really knew how to get the best out of everyone,
Yeah.
and they understood how to place people in their areas of strength. Um, we had a really special group of women who also believed in training. Those weren't
Hmm.
the days where you were doing a lot of heavy training off season, but we moved that along ourselves,
Yeah.
and we had goals and we
Hmm.
had a lot of fun. And there also wasn't a space for not being your best self.
Yeah.
It was like if you were going to be on the team, you needed to really be your best self. You needed to show up every day, even when you had a tough loss or you had a failure. And so there were, times when, yeah, we had fun and everybody was supportive, but sometimes people would have a little intervention as well. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't do your best, but you're going to need to get yourself back up because we need you. And enough of whatever this is going on with you. We're done with
Yeah.
that. And to have that come from a peer is powerful, and that lifts you to the next level. So there was a level of accountability that we had for one another.
Hmm.
Um, and, love, I just think that comes from a place of care and love and commitment. So that
The
was really,
conflict is interesting because, and I think I want to talk about that in terms of the first graders, the second graders, the third graders you serve too,
Mhm.
because if, of course, we were self-managing as athletes from a pretty young age. And I think that that's what's largely changed in athletics, is that coaches are managing the team from such an early age and coaching to be, the team member. I don't know that in the club sports they're getting as much of the kind of things you're doing with Girls on the Run, and that we had to just figure out because we were trying to negotiate our own conflicts and negotiate our own relationships in a different way. I don't know that it happens to the same degree the way we're raising athletes these days. I don't know. Maybe I'm misguided on that. That's my perception.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I have my own experience with my three children who are 22, 20, and 18, and watching them go through club soccer and the training at the club level we had, they had a really nice balance of coaches who cared about the kids and the team and really taught them
Mm,
those lessons. Once I think you moved into even the Division 3 level, it surprised me how much movement there is of coaches and
huh.
the kind of focus on winning, but not understanding that recipe for winning is actually caring about the kids first and building your culture.
Yeah.
And that was interesting to me. So I think there's a lot of pressure. I think if you look at the culture and I don't know all of it. Donna would
Yeah,
know, her friend, but of
sure.
the NCAA and how that's rolling, and I'm probably more Division One, but I think even looking at Division Three, that sort of desire to be at Division One maybe makes for even a Division Three culture that isn't
Hmm.
so healthy for kids. I mean,
Yeah,
let's face it, most kids aren't going to play professional athletics, but there's something else they can get out of it
yeah,
from leadership and developing their own talent and developing others
yeah,
that can be the outcome. And I wish more coaches had that perspective and the commitment, because you have to know your kids, you have to know them, you have to care about them, and you have to understand that winning isn't just the outcome of a game. It's actually these um,
lessons.
little lessons along the way,
Yeah.
and redefining winning. Um, and I like to win. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely. I
I
hear
like
you.
I like that shutout, but I think redefining winning to how do we developmentally organize that for young people,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our care. I like to win every day, and I like to help others win every day.
Yeah, but
So
some of the winning is just that. It's not
yeah.
the score, right? It's not the game outcome. I remember I'm going back to when I was married and when I was in my late 20s, and this is when I was at the height of my hockey career, and I was at a wedding with my ex's former boss, and he's like talking to me about his girls and how he wants them to get scholarships, and he's having, how do you do that? And he's picking my brain, and I finally slowed down and said, "How old are your girls?" And he said 3 and 5. And I went, "Wow, let's
Yeah.
let's wait. Let's just see what happens because
Yeah.
they may not want that." But for us, I know that sports taught so much of the dynamics of what helped with leadership and building teams and all the things you're doing with your teams. But how so you've I've always known that you, since you've been in education, because I watched you from undergrad to then into your doctoral program. So why did you pick education? How did it find you, or did you
Hmm.
find it?
That's a really interesting question. Initially, I thought I wanted to go to law school. I really loved. I was an American history major in undergraduate school. I just loved the stories. My dad was a American history and government teacher in a Catholic high school. I
Hmm.
feel like the power of story and knowing your past to inform your future was always compelling, and I really loved the teachers I had at Penn in history. They were extraordinary, and um, I felt like I was sort of in a cohort of people where, like, you go to law school, you do these things. And I was
Yeah,
drawn to that. So I had a minor in criminal law and deviance, which is interesting.
that is. I
Um,
didn't know that.
yeah. So,
And deviance. Let's talk more about.
yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
It's a whole nother
Um,
subject.
you sort of learn a lot about people, right? And the systems of why people
Sure.
end up where they are. But
Yeah, because it does take a system.
it does take a
In all
system.
seriousness, it really does.
It
For
does,
bad things to happen and for good things to happen.
for sure.
Yeah.
I coached hockey in the summers camps. It's sort of how I made my summer living. And I realized that I was really good at teaching hockey. I was really good at teaching goalkeepers. I loved encouraging them, and we had a great time. I'd have 30 kids I was working with. I'd have a couple of coaches. I built a whole curriculum, and I understood how to break things down, how to teach things, and I had got a lot of energy from that. So yeah, so I one day, and when I was in school, I was at the Annenberg Center for Communications, and there was a little Philadelphia school group there
Hmm.
of children waiting to go in and see some performance, and I just sort of sat down and I watched them and enjoyed seeing them engage in the world. And I thought, I should be a teacher. It just sort of
Hmm.
was my moment where
That's
I thought,
amazing.
yeah, I thought I want to work with people. I don't want to fight with people in a law.
Yeah.
In law. Like
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want to make an impact. And so so I decided to enroll in the Masters of Elementary Education program. And I thought it was a good way to use the education that I had and give back, and also try to work in the world with something that I loved,
Yeah.
which was a gift. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you're knowing you that that binary approach would have, I think, would have been difficult as a lawyer. I mean, you may see both points of view, but you'll have to stay on one side of that point of view too often. So I
Sure.
imagine that would be kind of a challenge, knowing you as, you know.
Yeah, I like the analytical. I like the analytical piece of it,
Yeah,
but I bring that to my work now.
yeah,
I certainly there's a lot to think about in school law, and schools can be very contentious places.
mm,
Um, Probably independent schools less so in some
yeah.
ways.
Well, you've
But
done both, though.
I
You've
have,
worked public and
sure,
independent.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it helped me understand systems and how they
Mm,
operate, and where people get stuck in the status quo and how people move forward.
yeah.
How you move something forward in
Yeah.
systems is I'm intrigued by that kind of work. So
Well, we share that too, because my early career was as a systems therapist. So
yeah.
yeah, that's, I did not know you had, that was your, you also took a minor in that. That's just fascinating to me because it does fit. It really does fit in terms of how everything kind of comes together. So
Mhm.
um so how's education doing these days? Because we're going through a lot, right?
Yeah,
Deep
I
sigh.
I really love being in an independent school. I'm an independent person. I'm very pragmatic, and I like to move fast.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too fast. But when there are really good things for children or sensible things to happen to improve and to grow and to be
Hmm.
responsive to children and families, I like to get them done.
Hmm.
And so, I think the reason I'm in an independent school is, I started in the public schools. And I think at the time in the 90s, where the federal, well, just sort of not to get political, but like there was a lot of federal accountability starting to drip into the public schools and local autonomy and accountability shifting away from
Mm,
state and local. And what I realized is that principals started to have less autonomy or agency. I think superintendents who were really exceptional educators had to fight really hard to keep good local work happening in the
mm.
districts. And I worked in one that was exceptional. I worked in Radnor School District.
Very, a very prominent school here in the Philadelphia area. Yeah.
Yeah. And the superintendent at the time was exceptional. And I just worked with exceptional people, but I started to see the landscape shifting with outcomes based education.